in and out. We go to punt. The punt gets blocked. It gets run back. And it was like everything that could go wrong did go wrong in the first half. So I will lend some credence to the fact when Mike comes on this show and says the Vikings don't strike fear into a lot of teams. This is the reason why, because you can get the Vikings on any given Sunday can get beat 40-3 or go down in the first half 33-0. Now I will say this, credit to the Minnesota Vikings fan base for a couple of things. One of which is going to be the fact that nobody left. At halftime, we were lit. It was 33-0. We had not scored. And nobody left. Everybody stayed. I don't know if it's because nobody wanted to waste the money that they had spent on Saturday tickets, or if there was real belief in this team, or what the case may be. But nobody left. And for the first time in, I think, Vikings history, I would have considered us a hostile crowd. Like something close to, let's say, Buffalo or Philly. And I say that because it was raining boos, not only to the coaching staff in the first half, but we had things like fuck the ref chants going on in the second half over fumbles that, Mike decided to pop in. Fuck the ref chants over, those fumbles that were blatantly obvious, both of them returned for touchdowns. And, we had, and then on the second one, for the first time ever, I saw Vikings fans so angry that they were throwing full beer cans into the end zone, trying to disrupt the game and get this thing right and put some energy back in this team.
That's how you interpreted that?
Gabe, it was.
You were not only a player apologist, you're a fan apologist. They're throwing full cans of beer in the end zone, and you're taking it as a plus.
Well, here's the thing. What are we talk about it on this show all the time, right?
Son, look at those men over there throwing beer in the end zone. Yes,
grow up to be like them.
Team, yeah.
But listen, as Minnesota sports fans, I think we can all admit at times when we lose games like this, we have a habit of going, "We'll get them next time."
True.
That wasn't the case here. It wasn't.
But we don't have to turn into Philly fans.
I think you do. Think about it. For a playoff environment, if you bring that type of hostile energy, the home field advantage is so real. So real. I was like, this is good. I like this. People pissed off instead of just like, I guess I'll go grocery shopping early and leaving the game at half.
What do you think about throwing car batteries out there? Do you want them to do that too?
No, not necessarily. Not necessarily that. But if Philly's gonna throw D batteries at Santa Claus, if Buffalo's gonna throw dildos onto the field, they'll call
do that?
The Bildo or whatever you want to call it. Jump through tables. Then guess what? Minnesota Vikings fans should have the ability to throw paper airplanes and beers onto the field the very same way.
Okay. I'm with you.
You have to develop a hostile environment because that's pride, right? That is like the pride of your fan base showing through instead of just accepting getting your fucking face beat in for 4 quarters.
You are a sociopath. And I like it. I really like it. But you're a sociopath.
I am.
You do not need to compete on that level. But I think it is nice that mentality's here. Obviously, we're sick of that bullshit.
For sure.
But yeah. That said, are we going to glaze over or not talk about the fact that we were down? What were we?
33-0.
Yeah,
33-0, and you can't gloss over it, right?
We're not a Super Bowl team. That's what we showed.
The Vikings, to me, are the definition of any given Sunday, and it falls both ways. Any given Sunday, the Vikings can get beat by the worst team in the league, and on any given Sunday, they have the ability to buzzsaw one of the best teams in the league. And that's what you saw in the second half, right? This team is by no means perfect. It does have a lot of flaws. The coaching staff is obviously young. Our talent level may not be as high, but any given Sunday for this team, any given half for this team, name another team that can score 39 points in 2 quarters, because overtime was half over when we scored the game-winning field goal. And in the third quarter, might I add, we punted on the first drive. So in 2 quarters, this offense hung 39 points, and the defense let up none against a team they hadn't been able to stop all day. So it is polar opposites. I know it's hard to depict. I know it's hard to go, they are this or they aren't this based on this performance. But I will remind you, and Mike and a lot of people will get upset in the comment section. This team gives me Kansas City Chiefs vibes. You can get down and it's not over. 17, 10, 23. The offense, if it gets rolling, will buzzsaw you. Dylan Gelzo says, can you scroll back there? Right there. The atmosphere was electric after half. Full beers, paper airplanes everywhere. Absolute chaos. I would agree with you. I think Dylan was probably at the game. So it's one of those things where Eagles can. Yeah, Bills can, Eagles can, Vikings can too. It's one of those things. It's hard to put a label on them, right? But you got to give them credit for being able to accomplish what they accomplished in the second half. The Colts defense is a good defense. They've got veteran players in the defensive secondary. They have studs at the linebacker position, and they have all consistent Pro Bowlers on that defensive line. The only reason they're half as good as they have been is because of that defense. So,
but
yeah,
I agree with you. Any given Sunday, for sure, they are that team.
Yep.
But it's like those are the team. That means that you have to be the team that wins 4 in a row or 3 in a row or whatever it is, wherever they end up. I guess will we get the bye for sure?
No, we will not get a bye. Right now, we're battling for the 2 seed, which should secure us 2 home field games. We're battling with that with San Francisco. That's where it's probably going to shake out, especially after Dallas takes that loss to Jacksonville, which we'll talk about a little bit later in the show.
Did you guys? I'm sorry to cut in, but this just killed me, and I forgot to bring this up. I wish I would have gotten the audio, dude. God, that makes me sick. Did you hear Kevin, whatever, the coach's speech
KOC.
after the game? KOC's speech after the game.
Yeah, the locker room speech.
Yeah, that
about loving this team. Yeah, it's the building of culture, right? That's what I see every time I see him speak. He doesn't minimize the accomplishments. He doesn't brush away the mistakes. He went into that locker room and still said, "Hey, we're searching for 4 perfect quarters of football, and you showed us what we could do in a half."
That was a huge mistake. The way that he did that is a huge mistake, and I'll tell you why. Because you say he's building culture, and I know that he is today.
Mm-hmm.
But wait till next year, and those guys who he's ride or die with, I ride with the end until they don't even let us play football anymore. And then he has to go, yeah, you're just not cutting the mustard anymore, so we got to cut you. And then that dude walks out.
That's the business of the NFL, man.
I know
that
that's
is the business of the NFL.
But they're all human beings, and that shit is going to, believe me, he set himself up for a fall. I don't like it.
I don't know. I mean, you're gonna feel that way as a coach in your first year. Right? I'm sure that's not the first time those players have heard something like that either. Whether it be a high school coach, a college coach, a position coach, a head coach, it's I love you guys, we're all in, because that's a mentality you have to. We talked months ago, Gabe, about commitment, right?
Yeah.
If there's one thing that you can give the Vikings credit to is they are committed to their brand of football, their brand of coaching, to their players, to this fan base, where you look at Tampa, who looks like a locker room full of individuals who are made men and have been paid, are an 8-loss team this year after being projected to be Super Bowl contenders. So they are committed. Credit where credit is due. You got to give credit where credit is due.
Well, hold on. Where? What, I agree with you on all this stuff, but I don't interpret it that way, that it's credit where credit is due. That was a major letdown.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you. But to then stay committed in the second half.
Yes,
100%. To do what they couldn't do against Dallas is growth, which is come back in the second half. To do what they couldn't do against Philly is commitment and progress in the second half, right? I come on this show every week and I say one thing above all else: progress. You see this team grow every time they hit adversity, every time they take the field. And it's just, right now, you locked up the NFC North, continue to tighten up all the nuts and bolts and screws or whatever, and get ready for the playoffs now. That's what you have to do, is continue to make progress, so you're playing that complete style of football come the playoffs. The Bengals did that last year. Up and down, all over the map, big losses, big wins, close wins. They snuck into the playoffs, and then because they figured it out in time, they got to the Super Bowl when nobody thought that they deserved to be there, right? So you can't count the Vikings out. You cannot. You absolutely cannot.
Can we put it? So I agree with you. He is galvanizing the team for this year. As our commenter Dylan says, KLC has brought this team together better than anyone else. The camaraderie this team has is the best it's ever been.
I would agree.
That you guys are too fucking young.
I would agree. This team has played more together than I've ever seen it as a Vikings fan. 2009?
2003, 1998, 1987. Get some fucking age. No,
I'm not an old man, Gabe. Sorry.
But that is how he's coaching, is go for broke this year. Sure. For sure he is.
Well, I mean, I think it's they've had the right mentality of one game at a time, I believe, has been the mentality, right? It's
one half at a time last week.
One half at a time, right? It's hey, can we win the next play? It's hey, can we win the next down? And if that's the style of football that they're gonna play, like I said, any given Sunday, any given play, they can rip off a touchdown. Any given drive, they can turn the ball over. They can swing the momentum of a game. Like, now, I will say, as we transition into looking at the Giants game that's coming up this week, it's going to be another prove it moment, right? So what did we see last time we had a big emotional win in Buffalo? They came out the next week against Dallas, and they got steamrolled. They were not ready. You're going to get the Giants, who are fighting for a playoff spot, who just beat the Commanders, right, to take the leg up in that division, and they're coming into your house, just like Dallas did, another NFC East team. So if they come out and they put a good performance together, you have to start to look at things just a little bit differently. I think the keys to this game are going to be bottling up Saquon Barkley and making Daniel Jones beat you with his arm, because I think our pass rush is at least consistent enough to rattle a non-top 15 quarterback in the league. Once again, Brian Daboll, also a first-year head coach trying to make a playoff push. So it's going to come down to coaching and play calling and situational management, which the Vikings have been good at all year. And then on the defensive side of the football, it's going to be, can we see more of what we saw in the second half? The difference on defense on the two halves was the Vikings playing their normal shell and rushing four, versus in the second half, you saw a lot of man catch, press coverages, disrupting pass routes, being in guys' faces, and letting the pass rushers get loose, right? Dylan says, so on defense, what do we need? That's what it is, because that's where the Vikings are lacking big time. I would agree. They're not great against the run. They're not necessarily great against the pass, but I think it's because we're not dictating. And you saw in the second half, when you have to have it, when you have to dictate, when you have to get in somebody's grill, when you have to get a stop, it's something that you can do. Don't think you're going to, out of this year's Vikings defense, you're not going to get the same hunger as a Jacksonville Jaguars defense, as the Cowboys defense, as the Bills defense. They got a lot of youth on those rosters on the other teams. The Vikings are a veteran defense. They're going to have to play situational football, and that's the hand we're dealt. I would love to say that this is a top 5 defense. I don't necessarily agree that it's a 32nd worst, best defense in the league. But they're definitely middle of the road. And when you have an offense that's as capable as we are, that'll put you in a lot of ball games, being able to play situationally. So it's going to be, can you bottle Saquon? Can you rush the passer? And can you put all of your corners who are above, Mike sent me a stat earlier this week. All of the Vikings corners, only roster in the league where their corners are all above 6 foot, which would normally lend to lengthy corners playing a lot more press coverage. We have the lowest press coverage percentage in the league. So can we get up on these receivers, disrupt some routes, and let our pass rushers, who are talented, Zadarius Smith, Danielle Hunter, Dalvin Tomlinson, even Patrick Jones II, who has been playing really well in the second half of the year, to get after the quarterback the way that they know they can. I've got this as a 21-19 victory for the Vikings this week.
I'm sorry, dude. We're going to lose 39-7.
Really?
Maybe 9-10 or something. But you understand human biochemistry.
Absolutely, right? It's going to be
such
the adrenaline dump. Yep, the adrenaline dump that it took to win that game. But that's what I say by it's a learning opportunity, right? If they come out and even if they win a close game,
even if they win a learning opportunity,
even if they win a close game, we're going to learn a lot about this team because they didn't do that before. They had the emotional letdown previously. We've seen it in the past. We had the emotional letdown in Philly after the Minneapolis Miracle as well, right? So can this team buck the trend? Can they be more consistent? That's That's the only thing that should be focused on and preached this week.
48-5.
21-19 Vikings. That's what I got.
What? So, did you talk about how we'd bottle up Saquon? Because how do we actually do that?
I think you have to plug the interior rush lanes. You're probably going to see a lot of Dalvin Tomlinson. You're going to see a lot of Harrison Phillips, who had a great game in the second half. You're probably going to see a little bit more of guys like James Lynch and Ross Blacklock to plug up those interior run gaps, because when Saquon is ineffective, it's because you're getting him to stop his feet at the line and move laterally versus being able to get downhill, put a foot in the ground, and make a linebacker miss, and all of a sudden he's in your secondary or on your second level. So it's just going to be can you slow his momentum by the time he hits the line of scrimmage? Not too worried. He's a good pass catching back. Not too worried about him in the pass game because the Giants don't have a whole lot of other pass or receiving options that scare me, even for the Vikings secondary. And Daniel Jones isn't a super large threat either at the option game or with ball security or whatever the case may be. So
are we home?
Yeah, it's at home.
We
this
are.
week.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Last home game before we go on the road to face Green Bay and then Chicago to end the season.
All right, fine. 34-9.
21-19 win Vikings this week. There we go.
And then KOC comes in the locker room and goes, "You fucking idiots! We look like fucking idiots out there." Yeah,
Could be.
We'll see.
Could be.
But how, you know what? I got to give him credit though, where he really shit down my neck on one thing. I had texted a group of my older friends.
Yeah.
at
The
at
40
the
plus
half,
club.
I said, "Here we go with the whole young buddy coach stuff. Like, this is where it sucks now because there's no chance he'll come back." So I was very wrong on that, just as I was wrong on something else.
I think he's got enough edge. You want, frame of reference. The Niners lost 4 straight games last year, going into the playoffs. And then the Rams lost 4 straight games last year, to include to a division rival, like the Vikings just lost to the line. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where he's experienced some of this as a coach. I think he's got the edge to get that team right, and if he didn't, they wouldn't have won a Super Bowl last year.
I don't know, dude. It's first time calling plays.
True.
You know? I don't
True.
know.
I totally get it. I
Yeah.
totally get it. And I love that he steps to the podium every week and he goes, "Hey, the first thing that needs to improve is my ability." He's very self-aware that he's not where he needs to be as a head coach. They're finding ways to win, which is a plus, because you either have that or you don't as a team or as a coaching staff. But I think he's fully aware that there are adjustments that need to be made, and he's doing his best to make them week in and week out. That's all I can ask for. We had 4 years of complacent Mike Zimmer. Run the same system, run the same plays, run the same defense, and it only got worse.
Yeah, and actually, the one thing that we haven't talked about for this game that I didn't get to see because I was doing the GameCast thing. What was there some great adjustment made at the half? Like what happened?
I think it was the defense. In all honesty, the
Just
Vikings,
stiffened up?
the Vikings have to play complementary football, and when I say that, I mean the defense. Even though it is bend don't break, they have to generate at least 1 turnover every game. They have to, because when you do that and you give our offense a short field, and then you swing the momentum to wearing out their defense, where they're spending a lot of time on the field, the Vikings really seem to excel in that category. I think in the first half, the Vikings at one point had the ball for 3 minutes and 30 some odd seconds, and the Colts had it for 15 minutes or something outrageous, 12 minutes, or something like that. When your defense is consistently on the field, it's hard to stop anybody, because offenses in this league get to dictate. Now, you do a 12, 15 play drive, you go down and score on offense, your defense comes out rested on a veteran defense, you're going to get better results out of them. So I think the big adjustment was the defense stiffened up, allowed the offense to do a little bit of dictating, and then on the flip side, on the way back, the defense comes back out rested with a little bit of momentum, and you get to cut the pass rushers loose, right? So I think the adjustment was just that, getting back to playing complementary football.
Can I do one before we move on? Can I do a little mea culpa
Sure.
from last week? So last week I was really harsh on Deion Sanders and how he approached the team, the Buffaloes, when he went there, and I hated the energy he brought in. I thought that he was making it about himself.
Yeah.
And this week he had, or I think yesterday, 2 days ago, he was on Club Shay Shay with Shannon Sharp.
Love that.
And it was first of all, in addressing the Buffaloes thing, he said on that he said the exact same speech at Jackson State when he went.
That's his. I mean, that's kind of his motto, right?
Well, he
Man
said
up.
same speech.
Yep.
Same speech. He's like slight variation, but basically same thing.
Yeah.
So I go, okay, it's his method. I can take that.
It's his
I thought
culture.
it was a departure from everything I had seen. So I'm no different than any other shithole.
You got to remember, like Dion used to get in fights with like physical fights, but like verbal sparring matches with reporters in the locker. That's a competitive dude.
Yeah.
He's prime for a reason. I didn't think he was in there softballing these kids.
And then you brought in another thing about his competitiveness, right?
Yep.
So then on that interview, they showed this. So this is a little bit graphic, but just to show everybody. And
that's
that
his
is
leg, yeah.
his leg and his toe. And they showed him getting treatment on that he gets 3 times a day because the pain is so extreme.
Oh, yeah.
And he just deals with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, he really, like, I was of the era when he was huge.
Oh, yeah.
And if you do, like, that's the only knock anyone ever had on him is that he was soft, right? Because he didn't make tackles. He didn't, all that stuff. And that is clearly not true. So, Prime.
Gamer.
I apologize.
Gamer.
I was wrong.
There we go.
Right.
All right, so let us know what you guys think on the Minnesota Vikings coming off the greatest upset or comeback in NFL history, heading into a playoff, seeding matchup at home against the New York Giants on Saturday. So more Saturday football for the Minnesota Vikings coming up this week. And we can move on over to Wild Wolf Watch, and we can go with the good team first. Minnesota Wild, owner of 6 straight victories. As the team gets a little bit healthier, the offense has woken up. And I think one of the biggest differences here, Gabe, is the defense has, like the youth on defense has made a massive difference in their ability to play disciplined hockey recently. Like you see them, it's fundamentally sound, I guess is a good way to put it, right? I love, obviously you take one from the Blackhawks, you grab one from the Senators, you beat the Sharks. They beat the Ducks last night as well. Kirill is either assisting or generating points himself, only continuing to cement that he doesn't have to score to dictate on offense anymore. He's got Zuccarello. Hartman's on his way back. I don't know, man. How close are we to feeling the way that we felt about this team last year?
I'm going to cede the mic here because I'm sitting back here with an actual hockey fan, Dylan. So I'm going to let him kind of talk about the Wild because he was saying some stuff.
That first line there, Kirill, Zuccarello, Voltli, those guys, chemistry. Alone, Zuccarello was named, top 3 in the NHL for the last, 2 weeks?
Yep.
So having those 2 guys in the chemistry that they have and just knowing where each other are, it's, I don't know. Defensively, you got Middleton, Dumba. Now we got Revo. This team is solid.
Reeves making a big difference since coming into. There have even been like verbal mentions of how much more comfortable some of these guys are getting into hairy situations, knowing that he's around,
it's
right?
Called the Revo blanket, baby.
Yep. And the Vegas benefited from this for 3 years. Like he kept that team that was floating above, average in playoff series, one of which they beat the Wild in, right? So
How about our? I have a question for whatever either of you. But how, is the goalie situation starting to cement itself?
They've both played really well recently.
Okay.
From what I've seen,
Gustafsson he's like my age, young guy, and he's learning from probably one of the best goalies of all time. We're gonna probably have Fleury for maybe another year or 2. I don't know how long his contract is for, but
I think it's this year. I think it's up at the end of this year because their plan is to bring the kid up from the Iowa Wild, right?
No, Gustafsson, that's him.
Oh, so that is him. Okay.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
What's the deal with the kid that we picked up from the Bruins?
Ooh, he's playing for Iowa now.
Okay, so they did make the switch. Okay, so this is something that me and Gabe talked about, right? Like, at what point is he going to be ready? And if he is ready, and having him learn, next year you're looking at a situation where Gustafsson takes over, and when he's, tired or not used to the full NHL workload, then you give Marc-Andre Fleury spot starts and continue to let that veteran groom that guy. I think the Wild are in a great spot.
I completely agree.
What's maybe he can answer our question from last week. Who's the last team to win an NHL Stanley Cup with a true 50-50 platoon? Is that is that common? Because to me, there's always one guy who really anchors it. But that's what.
Yeah.
So I can't tell how to feel about the Wild's goalie situation. It feels like Fleury just needs to assert himself and kind of return to form, and that's what we need.
I would agree with that, though. I mean, if Fleury can just say, hey, I got to be top dog this season and buckle down instead of having the back and forth with games, then, yeah. I mean, one of them has to make the decision, or Dean has to make the decision and say, listen, this is it for this year, and we'll figure it out next year, but you got to make that choice.
I mean, I think if the team is playing the way it's playing now, right? 6 straight victories as we kind of flip-flop back and forth between goalies, I think what they're doing is trying to create a situation where they can avoid what they ran into in the playoffs last year, right? Where you're like, they traded for Marc-Andre Fleury and they made him the guy no matter what, even though they had Cam Talbot going into the playoffs last year, and maybe that wasn't the wisest choice.
Yeah.
Maybe they're looking at it right now where it's, all right, let's give these guys, let's split it down the middle. We're looking at the stats at the end of the season, and then the hot hand runs the playoff series. I don't disagree with that either. That's self-awareness and trying to correct a mistake that you've made once before. Right? So,
Yeah.
big things to come for the Minnesota Wild. At what point, Dylan, do we need to start to consider Kirill Kaprizov for MVP?
I mean, he's already in contention on that, but it's also, again, the line around him. He's not Kirill without Zuccarello or his defense. So
there we go.
He's got the players around him, and he's got the coaching staff that obviously excels that as well, but he wouldn't be Kirill without his teammates.
Yeah, absolutely. So we got a couple of games coming up before we see you guys again just ahead of the new year. On the 22nd, I think that's tonight, they'll be facing San Jose. Then they are on the road to face Winnipeg before they return home to face Dallas on the 29th. Dylan, record prediction for the Wild over the next 3 games.
Ooh, I say, well, we'll go 2-1.
Very nice. We like that.
Which games?
I say we win tonight, next home game, and then we'll probably take 1 loss coming into January because that's that January slump.
Yep.
I don't want to jinx it, knock on wood, but that's how this goes.
Yeah, absolutely. I think just continue to keep pace, right? Like, unless some of these other teams that are sitting atop the West right now make, a massive stride to separate, if the Wild can continue to keep pace through January, they're going to have a chance to take that number 1 spot or the number 2 spot from one of these teams, if that's how they continue to play. So it's really on them at this point. So,
Yeah.
All right. Then we can move on over to the Minnesota Timber Trash Cans. This team just gives me a headache, Gabe, and I don't know. Like, national reporters at this point are starting to put articles out like, do we trust the GM to put the Minnesota Timberwolves talent puzzle together? Or, is Anthony Edwards as advertised? Or, just ridiculous shit when this should be a team that's going to compete for the Western Conference Finals from a talent perspective. They played well in a 3-game stretch where they ripped off wins against playoff teams. And it's almost like I've been preaching it all season. What happened in all 3 of those games? Anthony Edwards led the offense. 30-point performance, 39, 32, and I think he had a 7 assist, 11 rebound performance as well. As long as that guy is the leader in your clubhouse and who is initiating your offense, the Timberwolves are a better team. You start to do anything to the contrary right now, and the team falls apart. They lost to Dallas last night, by the way. So the winning streak ends, but they're still, bottom of the playoff picture right now, and that should not be the case. It absolutely should not be the case.
Hey, I just saw something like a couple nights ago that I meant to even do a screen record on it to show you, but I saw something making the rounds that of Anthony Edwards standing still for an entire play. When was that?
That was a while. That was a while ago. It was before Cat got hurt, and it's what I've been preaching. It's the fact that you can't, with a guy that plays like Anthony Edwards plays, a guy that's going to go downhill to the basket from the perimeter, and then when they start to sag and play help defense, he'll distribute or pull up to hit the mid-range jumper or pick and pop or whatever the case may be. You can't have 2 bigs. You can't. It doesn't work. It never has in basketball.
Whoa. Tell that to Grandmama and Alonzo Mourning.
Listen, it's a different NBA.
I know.
It's a different NBA these days. It worked when it was.
You could beat the hell out of
It worked when it was
everybody, yeah.
Shaq and Lamar. Yeah, Lamar Odom, who were just going to beat the piss out of people. You can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
You can't. So it doesn't make sense.
I saw that clip though, and I was actually like bummed out because I wanted to be excited about him as a player, and I have been. And now you go, there's 2 character kind of black marks that I've seen, and you just go.
At what point when you're Ant though do you go, because so new ownership, right? This is the first year that Mark Lowry and Alex Rodriguez have had full control of the Timberwolves.
Mm-hmm.
And their offseason idea was, let's limit one of the best young players in the NBA by clogging up the lane, which is the most effective part of this guy's game.
Sure.
Bad leadership.
But to deal with it by standing still publicly like that, it's just
What are you going to do? What are you going to do in basketball when there's no space? When there's
pout.
Not pout. I don't
like
think
that,
he's
dude.
pouting, but like, listen,
That's how
you
can
have
say
to
it's anything but pouting.
You have to. It is your job as the coach to make sure that he is involved in the offense on every single possession. It's the coach's job, not the player's job. It's the coach's job to make sure that, hey, our primary scorer when Cat isn't on the floor is Ant. No ifs, ands, or buts. He's getting a touch every time down the floor. You have to.
I'm just going to sit here and just be quiet the whole time now because I'm going to pout because I'm just so fucking, hey, I don't really have a choice. I'm not pouting or anything like that.
Come on.
That really is. That is the worst, actually, like, thing that he could have done. Be above it. Have some character. Not play into it and fucking whine while you make your millions of fucking dollars. Who gives a shit? God, what a fucking crybaby.
Hey, listen, I get it. I get where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Here's what I'm going to say. It's time to start looking at trade options for Cat.
Oh, fuck yeah.
It's beyond time. It's beyond time. You look at that 3-game winning streak. You go ahead and look at Ant's efficiency rating, his field goal percentage, his free throw percentage, his involvement in the offense, the energy that he brings to the floor. Without Cat, and it's obvious. I mean, outside of the Bulls missing Lonzo, that's a playoff team that they beat 150 to 126. Then they took on the Mavericks, playoff team. They beat them 116 to 106. And Ant has massive games. The Thunder, good young team, 110 to 112. So and Ant has another big game there. And Naz Reid was involved in one of these as a 30-point scorer. You don't need Towns, and the value that he can bring back to supplement the success of Anthony Edwards moving forward is something you can't replace. You got to trade him. Absolutely have to.
I think that I agree with you, but I think you should package up Ant with him.
No.
Yes.
No.
He is not going to, we won't win with him.
Yes, you will. That is the most outlandish thing I've ever heard.
Just like go ahead and watch that play again and just see like that.
Gabe, it's once. It was one play, and it was over a month ago.
I don't even think Allen Iverson did that shit.
It was over a month ago, and it was one play.
You sound like a boyfriend who like cheated on his wife. That was a month ago. It was abominable.
Sure, but you can continue to think that, but then look at how he's backpacked this team without Karl Anthony Towns, and tell me you can't win with the guy who has the best score, a top 5 scoring total in a playoff run debut as Anthony Edwards.
He's an enormous talent.
He's the talent, and just like the Chiefs did with Patrick Mahomes, like the Bills did with Josh Allen, like the Lakers did with Kobe, like Cleveland did with LeBron, like the Magic did with Shaq, you lean into your talents, you don't limit them. You can't do it. You don't blame the player when, nobody blamed LeBron when he left Cleveland.
You never blame the player, of course not.
Nobody blamed LeBron when he left Cleveland. Was the decision gaudy? Yes. But everybody understood that he left Cleveland because Cleveland wasn't going to help him win.
Agreed.
When Kevin Love left the Timberwolves, he did it because the Wolves wouldn't help him win. When KG left the Wolves, it was because the Wolves wouldn't help him win. He is a talent on par or above those guys.
What do you think KG would do if he was on this team with Ant when he stood still for that whole play?
He probably would have smacked him in the mouth.
Exactly. Because just like they said to the old country singer Hank Williams, you got $1 million voice and a 10-cent head, and that's what he's showing. And that shit doesn't get better.
It's one play.
when he becomes the man, that shit ain't gonna get better. I hate to tell you.
I could not disagree with you more.
Well,
I think it was an on-court protest to say, fine, you don't want to use me to my fullest capabilities. Good luck winning without me.
Right. Yep. I agree. That's what he was thinking.
100%.
Yep.
100%.
That's what he was thinking.
So, Wolves do have games coming up. It's going to be real interesting to see them take on the Celtics tomorrow. That is a team that was in the NBA Finals. If they go into Boston, or if they play Boston and win that game without Karl Anthony Towns, and then they go play the Heat, who were a playoff team last year, and then they take on the Pelicans, who are going to be a playoff team with an incredibly healthy Zion this year. Every win against a playoff caliber team without Cat only emboldens the argument that he is the problem, not the solution. Cat's got to go. Cat's got to go.
I was still just muttering about AD or about Ant, but yeah, sorry.
Cat's got to go. So I think the Wolves, in all honesty, probably go 1-2. They probably grab the game from the Heat. It's going to be a toss-up against the Pelicans. They're more than likely going to lose to the Celtics. And then we're going to check back in next week, and I'm going to have more rhetoric for you on the Wolves need to do something to fix the talent picture right now. They absolutely have to.
What do we, is there anything that you'd want to get for Cat? Like, I mean, is he tradable or is it just contract? I mean, we gotta get
so he signs a Supermax last offseason.
Okay.
This year he's still tradable. You get into next year and the year following, his cap number gets really big, and it's going to be difficult to move him. I think the Wolves' best bet right now is to go find a star on a playoff roster that is unhappy, or a star that feels like they should be in the playoffs that's unhappy, and package D'Lo and Cat together, and bring back a volume of picks and talent. Try to recover some of the shit that you lost, moving Vanderbilt and the pieces or picks and stuff that you lost to go get Gobert. It's going to be your best option. It's got to be, you'd like to get a point guard. You're probably looking to get a stretch 4. Those are the two things that I'd be looking for. Because you got your big, you got Gobert, right? So
I was going to say you didn't say we lost Gobert, right?
No.
Okay, yeah, I was like, what?
No.
Okay.
We have Gobert.
Yeah.
So let him play that traditional rim defending, rebounding 5 role. Give him 38 minutes a night. Go get you a stretch 4, somebody who can, shoot the ball well, somebody who can handle, somebody who plays well in the pick and roll game, but isn't a focal point of your offense. Jared Vanderbilt, who we decided to trade away last year, and then a point guard who is not score first, distribute first, and then let Anthony Edwards run the offense.
And then, by the way, we should give a big shout out to Gobert for his generous gift to all the Target Center staff. Did you read about that?
I did not.
It was fucking awesome, man. He basically gave them all an autograph card and something else, but it was like a gift totaling like $25,000.
That's all. I mean,
to all the concessionaires, to all the ushers, all that stuff. It was awesome.
You've heard around the league. I mean, outside of the COVID outbreak thing, which he obviously was a weird piece in, as with Utah. Everybody respects him. They say he's a great guy. He works hard. Good player, good teammate, good locker room guy. So I like Gobert. I like having him here. I'd take him over Cat 9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No doubt about it.
So let us know what you all think about the Minnesota Timberwolves as they approach the holiday break here, as they try to climb back into playoff contention, as they're probably going to get passed up by the fucking Lakers here if they don't figure out a way to turn it around. So we can move forward to headline news whenever you're ready, Gabe.
All right, we're heading to headline news right now. You'll see on the screen.
What's behind that door?
It's you.
Oh, hey.
Headline news.
So yeah, lots of news, obviously, between the Thursday last and today, to include, I guess, the Vikings sparked inspirational performance for the rest of the comeback kids around the NFL. You can start with the Jacksonville Jaguars, who don't look now. Trevor Lawrence is the best quarterback in football since week 9. The team has turned the corner. with Doug Peterson and Trevor Lawrence. The wide receivers, even though it's not a great receiving core, are coming to life. The defense is young and hungry, and it flies around, and they care in every game. And they managed to come back and beat Dallas, who put an ass whooping on the Vikings, and they've really run a lot of teams out of the stadium with Zeke Elliott and Tony Pollard when they get leads like that. So tons of credit to Trevor Lawrence and Jacksonville, and now they're a game out of the playoff picture. You know, they win this week and the Titans lose. It's a tie, I think, in the AFC South. We'll talk about the playoff picture a little bit later as well, but really, really cool to see Trevor Lawrence finally, I guess, take form the way that everybody thought he was going to in year one, kind of proving that, all right, well, it was definitely Urban Meyer's fault, and Doug Peterson's the man for the job.
Big congratulations to Trevor Lawrence and his mother, Sarah.
Yeah?
I don't know. That's like I think it's a cooking late product or something.
There we go.
No, it's a school, Sarah Lawrence.
There
it's
we go.
Female college.
There we go.
Anyway,
then Joe Burrow. Joe Cool just continuing to tell everybody that I'm better than Brady.
I was going to say, who are the top 3 quarterbacks in the NFL in order?
Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow.
Okay, go to 5.
Like right now?
Yeah, I get. Yeah, I mean for the year heading into the Super Bowl or heading into the playoffs for the top 5 quarterbacks. Yeah, heading
into the playoffs. Yeah, it's probably so Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, ironically all in the AFC. Man, the NFC, it's probably Jalen Hurts at 4 right now, and
Brock Purdy
and Trevor Lawrence at 5.
Yeah, right. I don't know.
Like it's close. Dak has thrown a pick. You know, everybody's gonna be like, "Oh, what about Dak? The Cowboys are good." He's thrown a pick in each of his last 5 games. You know what I mean? So the AFC's got all the good quarterback youth. Lamar Jackson's hurt. Not Jimmy Garoppolo hurt. Kirk inconsistent. Kirk's probably like 7 right now.
You know, through the late 90s, really mid 90s through like early 2000s.
Yeah.
It really felt like, now I'm probably going to be wrong in some aspects, but overall the NFC was better.
It has shifted.
Like, I mean, consistently.
Well, you give the AFC that many top draft picks, eventually they're going to be able to turn it around.
Right, yeah. I mean, has it turned now, would you say?
I think it has.
Yeah.
I really think it has.
AFC era.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look at some of the divisions in the AFC. The AFC West has what we thought was going to be Russell Wilson, which turned out to be the ghost of Russell Wilson, but the rest of that division is Derek Carr, decent, that's an above average quarterback, but Justin Herbert and Pat Mahomes in the same division. You got Trevor Lawrence, you got Joe Burrow, you got Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, God, you don't even talk about him. Or what's his name from the Browns?
Deshaun Watson, is there now. I mean, who knows? It's heavy. It's stacked in the AFC. Stacked. That is for sure. And a lot of them, by the way, traditional quarterbacks.
Right.
Like non-scramblers.
Yeah.
Outside of Josh Allen. So,
do you consider him a scrambler?
The way that he has the ability to run people the fuck over, you absolutely have to consider it.
Yeah, in a sense, moves his feet like that.
Yeah. Wild. The NFC is old age quarterbacks right now. Rodgers, Brady, it's the elder statesman. Kirk, who's 30, going to be 34. It's the elder statesman on our side. So.
Where do you put Kirk? Is he top 10?
Right now, yes. I think he's probably at 7 for me right now. If I had to sit down and break it down, he's probably sitting at 7.
What if you lived in Ohio? Then where's Kirk? Then where does he rank? Yeah. That's
9.
I was just shitting on
9.
you. Yeah, let's move her on to this one.
Yeah. World Cup wrapped up in Leo Messi with his first World Cup. This is what it looked like if you were watching this game. It was a great finale to the World Cup. I actually sat down and watched it. I'm not even a soccer fan. I watched it literally because Messi was in it. And this is what it looks like when you crown a GOAT. I could only imagine this is what it was when, Jordan won his 5th or his 6th ring, or any of them. To pick a GOAT throughout time, and each one of them kind of have a moment. His just so happened to come 19 years into his professional career. The guy has been...
Doesn't sound like a GOAT to me.
The guy has been. Oh, okay, let's.
I'm joking.
I'm glad you said.
totally
I'm
joking.
glad you said it. Let's go through the resume, Gabe.
Okay.
The guy has made 2 World Cup Finals appearances. He's won 1. He's the eldest, I guess, participant in the World Cup with 5+ goals in history. He's got 25 total World Cup appearances. He's been a pro for 19 years, and as a professional, he has almost 500 goals scored in a sport where it takes 4 years to score a goal.
How many women are accusing him of sexual misconduct?
None.
Wow.
The man
now
has
he's
been
a goat.
the man has been clean from top to bottom. Like everybody's like, "Oh, LeBron has had this illustrious career and all of these accolades and statistics and championships and he's lived up to the hype." Messi was doing it before LeBron was, and Messi doesn't get that kind of credit. You never see him in the news for negative stuff, ever.
You know who the biggest athlete in the world is?
Who?
Not Messi, not LeBron.
Who?
And it's a dude whose name I can't even reproduce, but he's a fucking highlight player. There's a highlight player. I saw it and someone compared his Twitter followers. He
Yeah.
had like 200 million followers. Like it was
Jesus.
dwarfed LeBron. Like dwarfed. And you just realize how
crazy.
big this world is. and
That's
how we're
crazy.
not. But yeah, I mean, Messi is obviously that guy. I love how you always get happy for these guys who've just
Oh,
been
that's
just
awesome.
celebrated his entire life everywhere he goes, and somehow you find the tears for him when he wins. But which is nice.
The effort, right? Think about it. To chase this for
I think it's hard for him.
19 years. To chase it for
Yeah.
19, you see it. Like Randy retired without a ring. LaDainian Tomlinson retired without a
Yeah.
ring. Ronaldo does not have a World Cup. Like a lot of these guys never reach the mountaintop as great as they are. So for him to get the opportunity to actually close it out and be the reason, because he scored the goal that put them up.
He did?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he really did get to have his moment, and it was
I'm
so
so happy
cool to
for him.
watch. So cool to watch. Gabe's back there, player hating.
That's what I do.
In the comment section below, boo Gabe or give your roses to Leo Messi. Massive congratulations on the World Cup. Pretty good all in all.
He got some flowers here.
There we go, Tim Jackson, always holding it down in the comment section, buddy. Thank you. Messi is the GOAT in soccer. Dylan says, did you see the Masters announcements this week? I did not. We have some news?
What has happened?
So earlier this week, the Masters tournament announced that live golf players are still able to qualify and play in the Masters this year.
That's good. That just put the dagger in the heart of the PGA.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. Everybody going to live now.
Everybody's going.
I wonder if Tiger like texted back whoever it was at Live and was like, "Hey, is
Offered
that
them the 1B and said, "Yeah, can I still call?"
that offer still stand?"
Do they let them drink when they're over there?
Yep. And
Yeah.
wear shorts.
Yeah.
Everything.
Shoot heroin?
I mean,
Maybe.
No, yeah, I don't know. I saw, however, I do take a little umbrage. Tim Jackson, great listener.
Yes. Number 1 fan.
He's a GOAT.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Pele is on life support right now, and you're dropping shit like that? I don't know, Tim.
I think. Hey, you know what? We're gonna have to start like keeping tabs because I think Tim Jackson has the most appearances in show. I think Tim actually might have more appearances on this show than Mike does.
I'm ready. If I get married again, I will give Tim Jackson prima nocta.
There we go.
Mhm.
Very nice.
Yes.
We'll
We'll see.
let us know how you guys are feeling about Messi winning the World Cup. We can move on to a guy that me and Mike have also dogged on over the last 2 years as Zion Williamson is back to MVP form. The guy had a stretch here recently where I think it was 8 out of 10 games he had scored 30+ points and pulled down 11+ rebounds. He's got the Pelicans as a relevant team right now. His season totals 24.5 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, and a block, playing center as a guy who's 6'6". Gabe, are you back in on Zion?
Yeah, I don't know why I pull for him, but I do. Like there's something about that. Maybe I'm just so amused that he's so thick and
He's so
jump and-
little.
Yeah,
He's 6'6", playing center, bullying guys that are
Right.
7 feet tall.
he's a weird looking dude out
Yeah.
there. And it's like I kind of pull for him in a weird way.
Now, the big question is going to be, Gabe, do we feel like this? Do we really feel like this is sustainable? The guy's already got an injury history, and when he is healthy, he's got run that is as good as anybody in the association. I will give him that.
Yeah,
But
I
can
don't
he
know.
be
I
is
don't
he
know.
Byron Buxton? Is he available come playoff time when it matters because of the style of ball he has to play?
I think that's really unfair to compare him to Byron Buxton.
Okay, let's compare him to Russell Westbrook then. Russell Westbrook doesn't have a ring for a very similar reason. Very physical style of play for 82 games to get his team into the playoffs. And then they flatten out. It's like all the air has left the balloon by the end of the season.
Yeah, I mean, the short answer is no. Like, it probably won't work. Like, if we could swap Cat for him straight up,
I would do it.
that would probably be a good trade for the Pelicans, and
It'd be
we'd be happy to do it.
Yeah.
But it's probably a bad trade for us.
Oh, probably.
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 But it'd be awesome.
Yeah. Everybody that's going to
yeah.
tell me that it's, oh, no, he's back, he's healthy, he's got his body dialed in. It's going to be a real chore for him. I mean, you even look at guys, Gabe, like Shaq. Shaq, after a certain age, the weight just accumulates. You don't get thinner as you get older. You get heavier. I was 168 pounds coming out of the Marine Corps. I sit at 190 now. I'm sure by the time I'm 35, I'm going to sit at 205, right? So the heavier he gets with the style of play that he has, the harder it's going to be to stay healthy.
Yeah. I mean, does he have the tools to actually, like, start doing some fadeaways and step backs or whatever?
I mean,
or can he only play that
his
way?
jump, I think it's his position. I said when he was drafted, so he came out of high school as a center. Okay, cool. He can jump over everybody in high school. Then he went to Duke. And even at Duke, he was just more athletically gifted than everybody. Of course you put him in the post.
And
He's
then
gonna
he
be
was
able to out-rebound.
thicker than everyone, too.
Right.
You know?
Well, now in the NBA, in a game that you see, I mean, Curry looks like he might be on his way to his 5th ring
Mm-hmm.
right now, stretching the floor. When Zion was drafted, I said you need to slow play building him into a LeBron style character where he gets to play downhill from the perimeter and you let him develop a jump shot over time to reduce the wear and tear on his body. And the Pelicans went, nope, he's a center. Just bad decision. Just a bad decision from the jump, either by him not being aware enough to say that this is what's best for the longevity of my career, or bad decision on the ownership standpoint and the head coach's standpoint and the training staff standpoint saying, hey, why don't you go ahead and pack on those pounds? I'm going to have you bang around with the 7'1", 300-pound guys 42 games a year. It's not smart.
It's really puzzling, actually. Just
Super.
Like, if anything in the sports today, it seems like we overprotect guys, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah.
And then, so why is he not getting the same protection, right? It's almost funny to me because you look at Anthony Davis's situation. Anthony Davis, now that he's in LA, is consistently hurt. I wonder if that's because as a guy that had a beautiful jump shot, they played him as a traditional 5 instead of playing him as a stretch 4 and saving his body. They're making the same mistake. History does repeat itself. Yeah. History absolutely repeats itself. So I'm happy for him. You're getting to see what he's capable of, but I don't know if this is here to stay. It's like a fireworks display. It's going to be beautiful and explosive while it's around. But at the end of the night, you're going to be like, oh, that was fun.
You're describing my sex life.
Oh, not just yours. Not just yours. Not just yours. Then what do we got next?
We got Ovechkin, 800.
Ovi. Well, massive congrats to this guy for 800 goals. Just like a career, a grit-worthy career. This guy probably deserves it more than, I guess, anybody else who's around that 800 mark. I'm not a huge hockey fan. Maybe Dylan can fill me in here.
Is he the 3rd best scorer all time?
Yeah, I mean, I think he passed. Pretty sure he passed the GOAT.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, where does that put Ovi now, right? I mean, if you're top 3 all-time goal scorers and you pass Gretzky,
well, not only top 3 all-time goal scorers, but top 3 all-time goal scorer having to be his own enforcer for the majority of his career.
I mean, this is a guy that has been an all-around player forever.
Yeah.
I mean, he can hit you, he can play defense, and he can dangle the shit out of you. No matter where you're at on the ice, this guy knows everything about you and will get in your brain immediately. And he won't be afraid to throw hands.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's what I'm talking about. It's not like you look at Sidney Crosby. Sidney Crosby's always kind of had somebody to protect him. Like, even now with Kirill, there's somebody there to protect him. Ovechkin was his own enforcer. You didn't want to get in his grill because he was going to come back at you, beat the piss out of you, and then make your goalie look like he was seeing ghosts. Like, just a different caliber of player. Different from anybody else in his era. Is he the best all-around hockey player in the last 15 years?
I mean, maybe
Easily.
all around.
I would
Yeah,
say
yeah, all
easily.
around. I'd have to think about it. Oh,
I
hold
mean-
on. You said 15 years?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Then yes.
20,
Yes.
25.
You're out of your depth now. You're out of your depth now. You're too young to even
But
be
I mean,
asking
look
that
at Mario
question.
Lemieux though.
Mario Lemieux is the greatest scorer whoever's
Right.
lived. But yeah,
Yeah, I mean, but it's why massive congratulations to the dude. Has earned everything that he has: the Stanley
Yes.
Cup, the goals, the points, the
He's-
minutes.
amazing. I think he really is probably my favorite modern dude.
Abs-
I want to like
You can't
Carrillo
hate
the
him.
same way.
You can't
No,
hate him.
No, no way.
You just can't.
Even I can't.
Like, I think my favorite moment of him was
And
him
he's
drinking
Russian.
beers out of the Stanley Cup
What's that?
when he won. You know,
You know that I've drank beer out of the Stanley Cup.
have you?
Yes, I have.
Very nice. Oh, I did not know that.
Not supposed to touch it if you can't.
Yeah, if you can't win it, you can't touch it.
Who says I didn't have a part of that?
Oh, Gabe was doing comedy in the locker room
That's
for the
right.
other
I'm a
team at
motivator.
halftime.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, anything else, Dylan, from the hockey guru in the back? By the way, for those of you that don't know who Dylan is, Dylan's actually going to be around helping us hopefully secure some guests. So he's being indoctrinated today, pretty much.
Yeah, and it helps to have a hockey person.
It does. It
Yeah.
definitely does.
I got really nothing else on hockey for today. We covered pretty much most of it.
Yeah, there we go.
I was a great player, though. I just want to say that into the microphone. I hold the scoring record for the Fargo Patriot Invitational Pee Wee hockey tournament.
Very nice.
Yes.
I think Dylan holds the centennial record for penalty box minutes in a single season as well.
I actually did. JGA. I did in the single season. I had the most penalty minutes on the team
Hey.
by far.
Ovechkin could have used you in the middle of his career.
Oh, probably.
So, all right. And then last but not least, we have the Twins. Couple of signings.
What?
Yeah.
I know. This is so fucking disappointing. I didn't want to go here like this time again. Was that you who wrote something about us getting finessed?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, big.
Yeah.
We
But
absolutely-
So like, I mean, so I saw that and I just took it as like, yeah, like I agree on one hand, but then on the other hand, I'm like, I don't know. He could have just been playing it out to see what happened, and then he was like, fuck these guys, and just moved on. I don't know. I don't know why it was such a finesse. I think Judge finessed the Yankees a hell of a lot more than.
Listen, I don't understand how, as the Minnesota Twins, you have all of this contextual evidence not to sign aging sluggers and overpay them to come into your clubhouse and hit 150 and play 80 games, but Joey Gallo is exactly that. And we got rid of a $19 million Miguel Sano to bring in an $11 million Joey Gallo, who has worse numbers than Miguel did.
Joey Gallo is the least exciting free agent signing you could ever make.
I
Like,
don't
is
get
truly
it.
Just like what?
I
the
don't
fuck?
get it. You lost Correa. You offered him 10 years and a boatload of cash. Find somebody else. Don't just go because you didn't get the guy that, you didn't get to take the girl to the dance for the second year in a row at homecoming doesn't mean you don't go.
You don't come back with a machine gun and fucking mow
Mow
down
down
everyone
half
you
the
love.
school.
Yeah, it's just
Jesus. It's nepotism. It's appalling that the Twins run this fucking formula into the ground every year, and they do it because guess what? Now somebody's going to wander out there and be like, oh, Joey Gallo used to hit 40 home runs. He used to hit 260. Yeah, he hasn't hit 40 home runs in the last 3 years combined, and he's got a batting average of 150.
If your business plan as a GM
Just-
is to say like, hey, maybe this guy will come here and catch fire.
He's not Nelson
That's-
Cruz.
It's a horrible fucking.
I'd have
plan,
taken
yeah.
Nelson Cruz back. I'd have taken
Yeah.
44-year-old Nelson Cruz back or kept Sano, who at least knows the locker room over bringing in bum-ass Joey Gallo.
Let the fucking young guys play for Christ's sakes. Like what the fuck?
We've got
yeah.
a ton of them
Yeah.
in the farm system that are ready to go. How about Austin Martin? Royce Lewis is on his way back. What are you going to do with Jose Miranda?
Joey Gallo's a fucking beer league softball dude,
It's
man. Like
ridiculous.
fuck that guy, man. I hate this shit, and I'm pissed off that I used my meltdown on the Twins last week.
I loved it though.
They just keep
Ah.
fucking doing this shit, man.
I honestly don't know what to do, but here's what I will say. Take Joey Gallo out of this and you look at the Vasquez signing at catcher. This one I don't hate. You got a young. Listen, you
That's
got
the best case, though. is
That's the
you
best
just
case.
Don't hate it.
You got a young pitching staff that's going to need like a veteran behind the plate that's going to be there day in and day out. Something that we have lacked for the last 3 or 4 years as Twins.
Mhm.
You got that now. You can maybe slide Gary Sanchez into just DH.
God, these fucking Yankees.
Yeah.
Hey, when you guys are done with your players, like when you think they're worn
we
out,
get
can
'em?
you call us?
We'll
Like,
give you
call
all
us first.
We'll give you all of our good young
Yeah,
ones when
whoever.
when they're young. As long as you give us your
It's just
tattered.
fun to have them around.
Ah, just fucking.
It's so cool to have Yankees in our team.
Anyways,
Wow.
yeah. Anyways, but I like this. He just came off winning a World Series, obviously with the Houston Astros too.
Yeah.
So hopefully he doesn't have fat cat syndrome. It doesn't sound like he's that type of guy. So he'll bring some, I guess, postseason muster to the locker
Sure.
room. Not that the Twins are going to get there this next year. The Twins right now, the way this team is constructed, by the way, is on pace to lose 105 games next year.
They're already on pace. I love it. No,
That's-
I agree
That's
with
my
you.
number, 105. When baseball season rolls around, Gabe, you know what we're going to do? We're going to put a whiteboard or a counter up, and we're going to start it at 105. And every time the Twins lose a game, we're going to count it down. And if I'm right, I'll give something away.
I want to I know we got to move on quick, but I just want to take a quick second to talk about something that you and I discussed. That
Yeah.
You said that you'd talk about with me. This week's puzzling posting I got from Nick, and now we have Dylan back here too, who's a neutral. I want to see if he can help me extrapolate this thing. He wrote, "Heavy is the hand that rules the North." Tell me what that means to you. Break that down.
Well, I mean, it's, the heavy is the head that wears the crown.
Yep.
Yep.
That makes sense because the head would be heavy because you're wearing a crown.
Because King of the North.
Yep.
As the
That makes
Vikings are.
sense.
Do
But
you
why
do
the
you or
hand
do
then?
you not have to be heavy-handed as a ruler?
Meaning you need to lay down the law.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, I get.
But
I see that. But you could just said heavy is the head that rules the North, because
that makes sense.
That'd be-
that makes
that'd make
perfect
way more
sense. We
sense
wouldn't
than
even be
the hand.
talking about this.
I mean, when you've beat, obviously we got games left against the Bears and the Packers, but when you're undefeated at home against division opponents and you've got wins on the road against division opponents, you know what I mean? Like,
This is
listen,
why
I get
love
it. It's
Nick,
not
though.
for everybody, but Gabe, when you were telling me I was outside my depth earlier age-wise,
Yeah.
that's what you're doing here.
Oh no.
Oh, yes.
No, dude.
Yep.
This is what I love about you is that you're just mathematically and biologically wrong, and you're just fucking doubling down, and I really do love it.
I mean,
Big-
you could have just added, a Jon Snow picture with like KOC's face on Jon
but
Snow.
you have to understand, Nick. Everyone knows heavy is the head that wears a crown.
You're right.
So people, when they read this, they go, "Is this guy a fucking moron or something like that? Like he doesn't know, like he's screwing it up." And they're like, "Oh no, he's being poetic." All of a sudden, out of nowhere, I love you, and I love this. The best part was I texted him with like an arrow in a box. I said, "Please explain this to me," and he truly, he made me smile on the toilet. Like I was just like, "It's awesome," because he just doubled down. I'm like, I'm for this all day.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, no, you're a great fucking human. So, and I really mean that. I'm not being a dick. I mean, I am, but in a good way.
I mean, that's your baseline though, right?
Absolutely,
That's what we
It
expect.
is, yeah, 100%.
All right, let's take a look at the NFL playoff picture real quick.
Yes.
So obviously, playoffs right around the corner. Let's take a look at the AFC first, if you have the AFC
Okay, let me
graphic.
see.
Who's playing tonight again?
Good question. I do not have it off the top of my head.
You're gonna have to give me 1 second on that graphic. I'm sorry. I fucked up because I was spending my time waiting to shit on you. So I
Wow.
apologize.
Hey
and
Gabe,
I
do you
am
know what
worst.
Gabe, do you know what the 6 P's
I'm now
are?
the worst. God damn it.
Do you know what the 6 P's are?
No.
Piss poor planning prevents proper performance, and that's
I
what
knew
that
it'd be
looks like.
something bad like that. I knew that wasn't a compliment.
No,
coming.
no, absolutely not. Not after what you just did to me on
Right.
air.
That was
Come on
very
now.
bad timing on my part. So you want the AFC
Playoff
thing.
picture. Yeah.
Oh shit! Again, here it comes. So you can start talking though. It'll be there in just 1 second.
Yeah, I actually need it because I don't
Okay.
have it memorized yet, but
Okay,
I will
here
say
it
that
comes.
I know that there's not a lot. I think in the AFC there's
Here it comes,
five
ball.
spots remaining for 7 teams. It is kind of a dogfight. Yeah, there we go. Yep, here we go. So teams that are in the hunt, obviously the Bengals are still in the hunt. Titans, Ravens, Chargers, Dolphins, Patriots, Jets, Jaguars. This gets really interesting because of some of the matchups that are coming. The Titans have to take on the Chargers, who are now hot and obviously looking to get into the playoffs. I think after missing by like a nose hair last year after losing to the Raiders. So if they lose and Jacksonville wins, we're going to end up with some really interesting scenarios here. Jacksonville playing really well. They square up against, it's not Dallas, but they do square, and this is last week's matchups too, I guess. But they square up against, they're going to square up against somebody this week, and I think it's the Commanders. Jets, there we go.
Jags, yeah.
Jags, Jets. So, I mean, right now with them not having Mike White, not really knowing whether or not Zach Wilson is their franchise quarterback or their water boy, you would expect Trevor Lawrence to put on a display and make this interesting. The Patriots are going to, I think they're falling from grace. The Jets, with the injuries they have on offense, I think they're out of it. So the only team on the bubble that's really in it is Jacksonville. The Dolphins still have a game left against the Bills, I believe, as well, in a heavily competitive division. Like, the AFC is definitely going to come down to the wire. And it's going to be one of those scenarios where it's carnivorous. You're going to get into the playoffs and be like, all right, well, what's really left out of these teams that spent everything that they had to get in? The AFC runs, and we all know it, the AFC runs through Cincinnati and Kansas City and Buffalo. That's it. You're not one of those three teams. You're getting into the playoffs, but you're probably not getting to the Super Bowl.
I see it more as a vegan type thing, but I can see why you'd apply that to meat eating. Heavy is the hand that talks the talk and walks the talk and walk.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
You're so poetic, Gabe.
Oh,
Give me the NFC.
To the NFC. Let's see. Let's see if this is a whoop.
Bam. There we go. NFC is a little bit different. I believe there is only 3 spots left in the NFC for the 5 teams that are, above, teams 1 through 4 or whatever. A lot of that is seeding or positioning for the playoffs. But the Buccaneers are at risk of falling right out of this thing. The Giants, they got a chance to stay in it. The Commanders, those 2 are the teams that I would, definitely take a look at this week. Let's see here. I had it written down because I believe if...
What, do you want me to pull up? Or?
No, you're good.
Okay.
I have it written down here. With the Giants and the Commanders, obviously the Commanders are, if you can pull up who they're playing this week. The Giants have the Vikings, and if they lose, the Commanders come out and win. Dallas has got a challenging game this week. Like, the NFC East is really going to dictate what the bottom half of the playoff bracket looks like, and that's going to be important for Minnesota sports. Right now, you could be looking at, if these NFC teams win out as they, kind of beat up on each other and try to get in, you're looking at maybe a Brady versus Kirk in U.S. Bank Stadium game week 1 of the playoffs for the wild card game.
So it looks like Commanders are playing the Niners.
And that's going to be tough. That's going to be a tough game for them to win. The Niners are such a well-rounded team.
Yeah, and
right?
They've got Brock Purdy.
They do, yeah. Brock looking Purdy. We're putting that on T-shirts eventually.
Yeah.
It's... But it's going to be interesting. Do you think the Seahawks are going to have enough to sneak in and maybe grab that last spot? Man, they have been the definition of a Cinderella story. I know everybody's going to be like, what about the Lions? They're not going to make it. It's been a fun run. They have vastly overperformed their waterline this year, but they're not a playoff team and they're not getting in. But do you think the Seahawks have enough to steal that last playoff spot from one of these NFC East teams?
I don't know. That's the best answer I can give. But I'm pulling up something. You talk about that because I'm pulling up something very exciting.
Yeah, it's the Seahawks with the run. They run the ball and they play defense. That's playoff football. So you come down the stretch here with some of these teams that are banged up and they might be able to sneak in. I mean, the NFC East was not a division that at the end of the year last year, everybody was like, oh, next year they're going to have 3 playoff teams. And they look right now like they're going to get 3 teams into the playoffs. And the Buccaneers might fall all the way out of it if they slip up against New Orleans or Atlanta or one of those 2 teams gets hot. Just a drunk year for the NFL.
Yes, and actually, I was absolutely shocked just now to see the Bucks record.
This is
there.
the most losses Brady has had in his career in a single season. 8.
And I actually thought that they were. Actually, I thought they were worse. For some reason, I thought that they were really even worse. So it's like, can they get in the playoffs still? Is there a chance or not?
Yeah, as long as they win their division, but their division is awful. It's the Bucks,
okay.
the Falcons, the Saints, and the Panthers.
Okay, but
Ooh.
did you see what Tom Brady is now playing for?
No.
You didn't?
Mm-mm.
Wait till you see this.
Oh,
He had
no.
Giselle,
Yeah.
one of the sexiest.
No, Antonio Brown has Giselle now.
That's true. But he fucking upgraded.
Whoa!
He fucking upgraded.
He mu-
This woman has already shown up to a Bucks game wearing his game-worn jersey. He absolutely threw a claim on her.
Hey,
I wish that was a less pixelated picture, but damn, just take my word for it. It's
Hey.
just so hot.
listen, Tampa Tommy out here slanging picks and slanging dick, apparently.
Wow. What a take. That's one of your best ever. And it's so, because it's true,
It's so true.
and it's so funny, and he's a very sexual man. I had no idea. Like,
Look at
for
him.
real.
Good fucking on him.
gorgeous.
Good
How
on him.
insatiable, though. Like, wouldn't you think he's a little busy right now?
I mean, I
Like,
think that's the
managing a
problem.
divorce.
I think that, hey, you know what? You know what I've noticed? Elder gentlemen in the NFL that date younger women, they fail. Mike Zimmer got a 25-year-old girlfriend and got his ass fired.
Whoa. You're talking to an elder gentleman right now, buddy.
I get that, but you're not playing in the NFL. I mean, Mike
Blonde.
Zimmer dates
Oh,
a blonde
yeah, you're right.
25-year-old and gets bounced out of Minnesota as one of our favorite coaches up until that point. And then Tom Brady divorces Giselle, sacks up with this bimbo, and now he might not
Whoa.
make it into the playoffs.
Now you're just
We
getting way
should
too loose.
avoid. We should avoid it. We should just avoid it as like
This
PSA.
woman, I mean, you would think that he'd almost be like self-conscious. Like, she's so here. I got another picture coming up, and it's her at the game.
Okay,
And I just
he's
think, like-
fucking Tom Brady.
Yeah, I was
no,
gonna
he's
say.
not fucking Tom Brady. He is Tom Brady.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
he's Tom Brady.
He's Tom
Yeah.
fucking Brady.
I
It's
understand
like
that.
saying it's Tiger fucking Woods.
I
was
just
gonna
went
say-
through a divorce, okay? And I'm telling you, to be doing that like publicly and then go, yeah, go ahead, show up to the game. Like, their ego is on another planet.
What's
You
she
know
gonna
what I
do?
mean?
What's she gonna do?
Like, well, hold on. He has kids.
And
He has like kids old
and-
enough.
and
Oh, okay.
you
Yeah,
think
just-
you think that this isn't a great example for the kid from his first marriage?
Oh, if what you're trying to teach your kids is to get pussy, that's great. Yes. No, you're right. That is great. If that's your whole goal as a parent. Forgive me for trying to have some goddamn moral fucking fiber in my body.
Gabe,
but she is
for
so
you
hot,
of
I would
all
too.
people to be the one to get up and stand on the moral soapbox.
I'm not. I'm just saying it's crazy to me that he's that like, this motherfucker can multitask like you would not believe.
I'm guessing that's how he got her. Yeah,
Multitasking?
sure.
I think that's what she was attracted to. His ability to multitask. She is beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. Good for her.
Yeah, good for both of them, man. God, I'm happy for those kids. I'm so happy that
Tom's
Brady
older than you.
finally could get some hot chicks. No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
I don't think he is, dude. I'm 43.
I'm pretty sure Tom's 44 or
I
45.
think he's 44.
Really?
Yes,
Fucking old fucker. Okay, cool.
and not a gray hair on his head.
Really? Well, I don't have one on mine either.
You don't have any hair on your head, Gabe.
Right. I don't want to show all the grays.
There we go. All right, so I guess let us know what you guys think about Tom Brady's new girlfriend. And
Yeah.
then last but not least, let's talk about the best core under 25 in the sporting world right
This
now.
actually hit me as bad news, man.
Really?
Well, yeah, we talked about this a little bit. I like saying that we had the worst stars in all of sports, and then here you go, doing this thing.
Yeah. So here's what I'm going to say, and I'm
And I
making
got the
this.
graphic here.
I am making this point for a reason. Because, like I said earlier in the show, as Minnesota sports fans, we have a tendency to be like, we'll get them next year. And then when we don't help our stars, what happens? KG goes to the Celtics and wins a ring, or, we watch our young stars leave to bigger markets and win championships, and we're just okay with it. But right now, as Minnesota sports fans, you should absolutely knuckle under and start holding your owners and your GMs and your coaches accountable to getting these guys the support that you need. Because if you look across the 13 different markets that have baseball, basketball, football, and hockey, you won't find a city that has guys under the age of 25 that are all pro caliber consistently, even though Gabe apparently would disagree on Anthony Edwards already. So here's who we got. Anthony Edwards in the NBA,
Yep.
who has racked up great playoff totals already. Justin Jefferson, who is arguably the best receiver in the league.
I mean,
Kirill Kaprizov, who is one of the most talented scorers in hockey, if not all-around players. And then how about last week we were like, oh, who is it for the Twins? Do the Twins really have a guy? How about Yohan Duran, the 24-year-old fireball reliever that really couldn't be touched at times last year?
Yeah, it'd be interesting if Royce White wouldn't have been hurt, or Miranda. Well,
Royce Lewis. Royce Lewis is over 24.
Right, yeah.
Miranda's over 24. Or they're both over 25. I think
they are.
I think they're both actually 25.
Okay.
Yeah, so they'll be 26 heading into next season. But here are the markets, Gabe. So I wanted to ask you off the top of your head if you could put together a better four. There's 13 markets.
Definitely not off the top of my head.
How about Denver?
Denver, John Morant's. No, he's Grizzlies.
He's
sorry,
in the
sorry,
Grizzlies.
Sorry. Yep. No, I definitely can't do this off the top of my
No,
head. So just
Denver doesn't have it. Detroit doesn't have it. How about Miami?
How about Los Angeles? That's what I'm trying to think.
San Francisco, Washington D.C., New York. Can we come up? I'll give you New York as a market
New York
together.
should be.
I'll give you New York as a market together. Can you name a basketball player, a football player, a hockey player, and an NBA player better than what we have right there?
Okay, how about Florida? Saying Florida because you have Tampa Bay for
Sure.
baseball has great, players, great young players.
Wander Franco.
Wander,
Okay,
no,
there's
they
your
have
baseball guy.
They have pitchers too, but okay, that beats his pitcher. What? But I don't know. I'm just trying to think of who they're.
Do they have a
who's the best
hockey player
football-
better than Kirill?
I mean, the only one that I would not in New York or Florida, but California, Zegras.
Sure.
He's sick.
We'll get to California. Let's stick on Florida or New York. All right, Florida football. Does
Who's
Florida have a
Tampa's
better
best
football player?
Yeah, exactly.
No.
Who is it? No.
Not under 25. They got a better basketball player down there for the Magic? No. How about the Heat? No.
Why are you mad at me?
It's
I
just
feel
it's
like the reaction's a little strong there, but yeah.
All my
but no,
reactions
I
are
got. But I got yeah.
So Florida, no. How about LA? I'll give you all of California.
The whole state.
The whole state. Give me four
definitely-
guys. Give me four guys better than the four guys
Without
you
a
see right
doubt, we are better.
there.
I
Without a
don't know.
doubt, we
I
are.
can't name the players. Herbert.
Sure.
Is he-
But is he putting up numbers like JJ's putting up numbers? Is he breaking records
He
like
doesn't play
JJ's
wide
breaking
receiver,
records?
though, so you got to give him a little. No. Well, who would you rather have on your team, Herbert or Jefferson?
Jefferson.
Hold on.
Because Jefferson
about
makes
that.
any quarterback better. I'm not sure that if you take away Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Austin Eckler, the fact that he's got a Pro Bowl caliber defense, I'm not
What's
so
the
sure.
most valuable position in football?
Quarterback.
Okay. And is Herbert a top? Well, but he got hurt this.
No, he didn't get hurt this year.
Didn't he have some injury stuff?
Last year.
Then what's his excuse for not playing that good this year?
Great question, Gabe.
Damn it. Fuck. Shohei.
Is he under
I
25?
don't know. He's
Not.
got to be right there. Not at all.
I think he's
28,
27,
27.
26, 27. How about basketball? Jordan Poole?
Steph Curry looks like he's under 25.
Right.
I mean, you got to give him that.
Nobody in baseball? Really? Nobody in hockey? Dylan, you got a hockey player in California that's better? You
Yeah.
said Zegras?
Trevor Zegras.
Okay, so that's one.
How about Seattle? Seattle, we got Julio.
No.
Who's the best NFL rookie there?
Ooh, in Seattle?
Yeah, do they have anyone? I was just trying to find one
Uh,
to beat for baseball. Julio for sure.
Julio Rodriguez.
Kansas City, otherwise Kansas City, we got Bobby Witt Jr. We got
Yeah.
Who would be their football guy?
Pat Mahomes is over 25 now.
Oh, he is. Damn it! God, I wanted to beat you. So
Oh,
I
I
wanted to
forgot
get
about-
one there.
Forgot about Fiala, but he plays for LA.
Yeah?
He's not as good as Krill.
No.
Not-
There's a reason we got rid of him.
Oh, no, he wanted to get paid as much as Krill.
So how about Boston? Boston's a big market. Nothing.
Nothing.
Peanut gallery. How about Phoenix?
I couldn't even think of these people if I didn't do drugs for 15 years.
Nope. So my point is, if this is what we have, it's time. This city deserves a championship, and this is our best shot to get it in any sport.
I get what you're saying. Let's put them all on the same team.
I'm obviously. I mean, I'm pretty sure I'd love to see Anthony Edwards play football for the Vikings.
Yeah.
He'd be a freak of nature at tight end or to line up anywhere. But other than that, I don't think these guys have.
Even in Frisbee golf,
Yeah, sure.
have them team up and do
I
that.
don't care what it is.
Yeah.
But like this, it just goes to show that Minnesota is not a market. It's not a small market, right, Gabe? It's all about ownership, wealth, and player development, and how the culture of the organizations. You have a chance right now. Let me ask, Gabe, when was the last time that Minnesota won a championship, period?
Well, I'll just answer what you're really asking, which is I haven't had sex in 13 months. So, but no, sorry. What was your actual?
The last
question?
time that a world title was won in the state of Minnesota would have been the Twins, right?
Is it 91?
91.
Wow, that's the last one.
It's been 31 years. And you have the best young
Yeah, but
core.
we can't
in-
spend money like those other teams, you know.
But now, listen, you want to make this a big market? This is part of that formula. 110%. You get one team that wins a championship, and all of a sudden it can become a leverageable destination for your other three major sports. So somebody's got to go get it done. The Pohlads need to spend the money. The Wild need to make the trade. The Wolves need to trade Cat, and the Vikings need to figure it the fuck out.
And the fan base has got to start fucking so we get more population.
Not even necessarily that.
It'll help.
The fan base needs to hold these teams accountable. You can't have wasted years. These guys are young and relatively inexpensive as of right now. Kirill got paid. You're about to have to pay JJ. You're going to have to pay Ant. And if you want Duran to be a closer, like, you know, when the Red Sox leaned into Papelbon, or when the Yankees had Rivera and build an actual franchise around some of these guys, or a dynasty, you're going to have to pay him too. Right now, you don't have to. Go get them some success while they're young and let the wealth spread. You have to do it. You have to do it, and it's inexcusable if you don't. Minnesota's got to win a title in the next 5 years, or it's all a waste.
He's not wrong.
5 years. You have 5 years. You have till these guys are 30, which is when they'll go, I ran out of time playing in this market. I got to go somewhere else.
But we can't.
Doesn't matter. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. We are not K-Fan. I don't want to hear it. Nope. Spend the money. You don't own these teams if you're not wealthy enough to make the moves. And if that's how you're approaching it, sell the team to somebody who is willing to do it. And the fans need to put that thing away. The fans need to buckle under and be the same hostile environment, not only to opponents, but as far as accountability goes for our owners, as we were on Saturday. The Wild are bad, throw shit on the ice. Blow up the ownership in the press.
I mean, in all honesty, I think the only bad ownership we have right now is the
Pohlads.
Twins. It's the Twins. That's
Yes.
it. Other than that, all of our other sports teams they're doing great.
You're totally cool with the absentee Wilfs?
Well, I don't really watch basketball that much.
That
so-
would be the Vikings.
Well, either ones. I mean, Vikings and Wild right now are going off, and if they continue to make the right decisions and just pay the right people and acquire or trade for the right people, we could actually do some damage.
Absolutely. And I mean, do you agree, Gabe? Do you think winning a championship for, let's say the Vikings get it done this year, miracle, right?
Mm-hmm.
You think that impacts?
That'd be a miracle.
Do you think that impacts how the Wild are going to have to operate?
I think it's contagious. Yeah, man. I do think it does change expectations.
So you
and
got to
stuff
do
like
it.
that.
You
Yeah.
got to do it as a collective.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the shit matters, just like as we talked about, man, the fan mentality and all that stuff. It's all got to change. So
Got to change.
yeah,
No more apologies.
bring your batteries, bring your beer cans,
Yep,
throw them at
yep,
people, do whatever you
yep.
need to do.
Fights in the stands.
Mhm.
Let's turn this into a real hostile environment until this city gets a championship.
I tell you-
31 years is way too long.
Oh, yeah,
way
yeah.
too long.
Absolutely, man. And bring explosives, whatever.
How dare you do that to your robot?
Yeah, I mean, nothing is out of bounds now. We
No.
need a championship.
We need one. Need one. All right, folks, that's all I got for you today. Gabe, you got anything else for the people?
No, man. I've given everything I got.
You know what?
Except more super exciting stuff coming along the way. We're very excited. Tell your friends, get on the bus.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The train is not necessary. I mean, we're not leaving the
It's a fucking
station.
bus, dude. I just said.
Train,
Yeah.
bus.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, you're right.
Gabe said bus because he's used to the short ones where he's got to wear a helmet and to help
How
avoid
dare
licking
you.
the windows. But yeah, no, we have some massive things coming for the show. We're really excited for all of you that are watching to be involved in it. So make sure that you like, share, subscribe on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, Spotify, anywhere that you can find podcasts. If you don't watch it on the internet and you want to watch it on your television, you can always go over to MCN6 here in the Twin Cities. We're in about 2 million homes. Otherwise, on your Roku app or the Roku application on your Amazon or whatever, however that works with television. I don't have one, so I don't know. We will be back next week to do our New Year's resolution show. I was trying to move around to get the eyes lined up. It didn't work.
Stay in them. It was so funny.
I know. We'll be back to do our New Year's resolution show. We're going to hand out some awards. We're going to do some New Year's resolutions. We may have a guest for you next week, and we're going to take a look at the Minnesota Vikings. And maybe, if we're lucky and the weather gets above 10 degrees, we'll see Mike next week as well.
Oh, I hope so.
As always, take care. Happy holidays to everybody, and stay safe.
Goodbye.
Get his ass out of my face.
That was a very good